we have identified three options. The first option is essentially declare victory and wrap it up. The second is escalate to de escalate. And the third is go big or go all in. So let's start with declare victory and wrap it up. This option would basically involve the White House, the president, saying, we have achieved our objectives, and now we're going to bring this war to a close and say that we have accomplished what we set out to accomplish. There was an Al Jazeera article called The U.S. Israeli Strategy Against Iran is Working. That was the headline of the article by a guy named Muhammad Saloon, that basically made the case for a version of this option. Said, the US and Israel have been successful. They've badly degraded Iran's ballistic missile capabilities, set it back years. The nuclear program has been set back. The proxies, the terrorist proxies like Hezbollah and others, have been badly weakened. The top leaders have been eliminated. And so the administration at this point can say all of the operational objectives have been met, and we can wind this down. The benefit of that, coming off of the conversation with Halima Croft, is that you could, if you were successful in ending the war right now, and that's an if I'll come back to, you could get the Strait of Hormuz reopened. You could get energy and other commodity flows restarted. You could begin to alleviate the disruptions to the global economy. And you could put a lid on what the possible other spillover and escalation impacts and effects might be. This may be the most risk averse of the approaches, but it's one that has real attraction, particularly at this moment, this inflection point, as you put it, where this thing really could continue to spiral out of control. Now, what is the problem with that? Well, number one, Iran gets a vote in whether or not the war ends right now. So even if the United States and Israel were to say, we're done, we've accomplished our objectives, the war's over, Iran could say, not so fast. We're not simply going to let you stop and then let the strait reopen and then wait for you to come hit us again in a few months. We are going to keep the strait closed until there is some greater guarantee, in what form is a little unclear, but some greater guarantee that you're not just going to come back and hit us again. So that is a challenge that would have to be worked through. And for those arguing for the declare victory and wrap it up strategy, part of what they would probably advocate for is some back channel communication with the Iranians to see if there was a way, not a formal agreement to end the war, but a way for each side, in a sense, to declare victory, call it a day, and have the hostilities stop and the strait reopen. Whether that's possible or not remains very much an open question. Second big challenge is that Al Jazeera article ultimately identified what it says is a, quote, clear endgame. And I'm going to read the sentence that is the clear endgame. It is the permanent degradation of Iran's ability to project power beyond its border through missiles, nuclear latency, and proxy networks. The word permanent is doing a lot of work there. If this war ends right now, one, the regime is still intact, and as our guest last week, Danny Centrinowitz, said, is probably more motivated, more hostile, maybe more open to trying to go for a nuclear weapon. Two, when it comes to the nuclear program, Iran would still be sitting on a stockpile of highly enriched uranium, would still have centrifuges, and would still have the know-how to build them, and now would have a heck of a lot more incentive to ultimately try to sneak out to a nuclear weapon at some point. And then three, yes, its ballistic missile capabilities and its proxies have been badly degraded, but those can be built back. We've seen Hezbollah already get built back over the course of the past year, and the ballistic missile program get built back since the 12-day war last year. So this is ultimately a risky strategy in that it does not solve many of the larger problems and leaves in place a significant number of challenges, even if Iran decided to go along with it, which itself is a big if. And yet, among the options is the one that restores or works towards restoring global economic activity, energy flows, commodity flows most rapidly, and most reduces the possibility of some greater set of catastrophes, including a larger loss of American life and a widening of the conflict to even more energy infrastructure and potentially even beyond that. So that's the argument basically for the wrap it up, call it a day option among our three options.
The nuclear program was obliterated, but as we will
Yeah.
discuss in a moment, there is still significant elements of the nuclear program that have not been fully dealt with. The regime is still intact, etc. So there will be an Iranian victory narrative if the war ends today that will be extremely compelling as well. And so you'll be in this kind of narrative battle that will succeed the military battle. Although my view would be, if we're only in a narrative battle, given the economic impacts of the military battle, we're probably in a better place than we are now. So it's just not going to be clean.